We have to go back a long time in history, and the world has changed dramatically since I was born in 1937. I came from a small village in Norway, and when I was 15, I was hired in to become a sailor with a Norwegian ship going from my home place to Africa and back during 2 months. So in my summer holiday, I hired there, and I came to what is today called Ghana, which was Gold Coast those days. It was a British colony. And it was a shock coming from a small city in Norway to the African continent and meeting the British Empire, how it really functioned, with a lot of class differences. We had slaves around, really slaves, because the Norwegian crew could hire one black man and we could take a leave and they did our work. And it was a terrible shock for me to see what happened there. So that changed my life. So when I came back to Norway, I became interested in social issues, in politics, and I felt that we have a responsibility for all this. You know, we are all part of the whole game and we have to do something. So it started there. And I was lucky I became a journalist, so you can express yourself. I got a chance to work in a radio station. I got a chance to work in a television station. I became what they call a primetime radio, television and radio announcer. And I became a foreign correspondent. And my job was finally to go back to the third world and report on all the miseries there. It was also a terrible shock to see that very little had changed all these years, you know. So by learning about the power of communication and seeing what was happening around me, I understood that we are now going in for the communication revolution in the 70s. So I felt that I have to do something. I had been a reporter in famine, in starvation, hold children in my hands, dying children. It was some kind of social pornography, and I felt that I can't do this for the rest of my life. Let me try to see if I can change something and do some practical things. So I managed to get some friends with me. We started an international organization called Worldview International Foundation. We established it in a developing country in Sri Lanka. This time in the 70s, Sri Lanka was a model democracy in the third world. It has a free press. It had changed governments and free elections. It was the ideal place to start the communication unit for the rest of the third world. And when the really communication revolution started, we could see that the world will change dramatically. And our mission was to help the poor, the voiceless, and the what they call the downtrodden people in developing countries to learn a little bit more about lives and possibilities. So what is called today, it's called public education. And it is the best tradition and also in Norwegian development, because Norway was the poorest country in Europe when we got our independence in 1905. And we came out of poverty not because of anything else than education and awareness of our values and so on. Some said because of oil. It was long before oil came. And oil didn't have that much of impact as education. People became aware of their opportunities. They organized themselves into women groups, youth clubs, all kind of things, farmer societies. And they learned how to deal with public speech and so on, became politicians. And that's how the Norwegian democracy really developed. So this was, in my view and our view, very, very important contribution to real development, public education. And you can do quite a lot with public education. For instance, in those days, diarrhea was one of the most common sicknesses in the third world. In some countries, let's see Nepal, 50% of the children before age of 5 died because of diarrhea. And it is just through ignorance. If people know how they can prevent diarrhea, they can prevent them. It's not a question of doctors and hospitals and so on, but how to prevent. And when you have diarrhea, if you have a little bit salt and sugar in water, it can save a life. So that was our mission, to bring these simple facts, this knowledge out to people. And we started with video. And I can see here now in front of me, I have a very small camera here. And we had a ton of camera record in those days. It was a kind of a pioneering thing to start. And see what has happened now. Every single individual in developed countries, and mostly also in developing countries, they have a telephone like this. So they have their own radio station, they can communicate. It's a fantastic revolution which has changed. So being one of the contributors in the field with all this, I have now to admit that we can't do much more, because now people have their own communication capacity, power. It is taking off without anyone else's help. So what we now have looked at is the next big wave in human development, which was earlier communication revolution. Now it is global warming, climate change. This is even bigger challenge than communication. Because if we can't do anything today to stop this terrible degradation of our environment and the climate, then I don't think we have anything more to do on this planet. You know, this is not only me, but it is a fact with all kind of research, science, everything points to that. Only the deniers, they go with closed eyes. They don't want to know because they want to have the world as it was before, but that has changed dramatically. So Worldview has shifted from being a pure communication, public education, to do action on climate change. And we want to be active. We don't want only to speak and talk. We want to do something practical. And what can we do? So I think that when we come to energy, the polluting energy is gone. In 20 years, you hardly see any more cars going with petrol and diesel. The coal-fired plants out because they cannot compete. We see electrical cars, we see renewable energy because of the price. Not because of politicians. Politicians have totally failed. But the market has taken over. The inventors have taken over. Technology has taken over and saving us from all this pollution in the future. But what is the challenge? Because we can't do much here. That's taken care of itself. The challenge now is all the CO2 up in the atmosphere. Last year was the first year we had 400 particles per million of CO2 in the atmosphere. And that is the red line for keeping the temperature below 2 degrees centigrade in the future. So we have crossed that line. And what can we do? There are someone thinking they can invent new machines, they can capture CO2 from the air and so on. That is possible, but extremely expensive, and where to store. There is no safe storage yet. But we can use nature. Nature has been with us always, and nature is taking care of this always. Nature is mitigating CO2 from the air, but we have pumped up too much, and we have cut down also down too many trees. So we have lost the balance. So planting tree is now the order of the day, but not any type of tree. We have to plant the trees which are more effective. So we are planting mangrove trees. Mangroves grow in salty water. It grows in the shoreline. It's a buffer between sea and land. And mangroves mitigate up to 5 times more CO2 than terrestrial trees. Mangroves have also a lot of other very important ecosystem services, like producing 10 times more oxygen than a person needs a day. It cleans the water from runoffs. It keeps the seawater clean for seagrass and for coral reefs, which is very important also. And it helps the ocean in many ways. So we have started a project in Myanmar. We first started 3 years research to be sure that we did have to do things right with 2 universities. Now we have planted 3 million trees, and we know how to do. We have brought down the survival rate of the trees to more than 90% of when you plant. It's a big achievement. And now we want to go to scale. Our challenge now is to plant 1 billion trees. Some people seeing this man is crazy, but we can do it. From where do we get the money? We have also brought down the cost substantially in planting, but we can now, most of the money we get from a new type of currency. We get it from the encrypted currency, and it is a company in Switzerland called Lykke. They work with us. They have issued a new coin, a tree coin, which has a value. So people can now sell this coin. They can change it with dollar, with euro, and anything. It's a completely new world we are in. A new world with everything is possible if you just want and if you just work for it. So we have now reached a point where everyone can participate. It costs less than $1 to mitigate 1 ton CO2 with this using the nature. And it means that the person in Europe can be climate neutral with $7 a year, $6 to $7 a year. Everyone can participate. Everyone can afford it. So we invite everyone to come, and you can buy 3 coins. You will get the value. And this value will go up because the price of carbon will go up because of the Paris Agreement in 2015. It's coming up. And we will share 50% of that dollar you buy will go to the local community. Because if you don't work with the local community, planting tree is useless. These are all poor people living in these rural areas, and they need some livelihood. So they will now be the custodians of the forest. They will take care of the forest. They will be the best friends for the project. We help them with new livelihood. We help them with new activities. Women groups, everyone is organized. So it is a very beautiful combination of many types of activities coming together. With a new way of financing, through a new currency, we call it the currency which has real value, because other currencies are just fiction. There is no gold anymore for dollar or euro or anything, but this has a fiction, that this has a real value. A tree, growing, producing, mitigating CO2 every year, and it can last for more than 100 years. We can't do anything else more effective than going for mangrove restoration. The communication is through social media, because we find that the traditional media is more or less useless for new ideas. They are so hooked up in old way of thinking and power games and politics and so many things. Very difficult, and what we call the gatekeepers are still not quite aware of what is happening in the world. Some old gatekeepers are deciding what they should do, and they go very conservative thinking. But social media is open. So we have gained a lot by social media and getting people on board in Facebook and in other kind of social media. We just started, and it's a remarkable response we get from this. So we live in the age of the possible. And that is what makes me have optimism for the future. I think no one could foresee how the solar energy has taken over the energy factor, and also the offshore windmills and so on, which produces the cheapest form of energy you can dream of today. The latest project in Abu Dhabi, which was opened in May 2017, this year, can now produce electricity for less than 2 American cents per kilowatt hour. You can't do it cheaper. And this is just the beginning also. They say in 20 years, it's even half of that, because new technology is coming. And I have been fighting against the coal power plants for a long time. It is a terrible thing, you know. But there is a coal and oil lobby there, especially in developing countries, whereas a few people are gaining millions of dollars by importing coal and gas and oil and stealing half of the money in their pocket. So they have been resisting this solar energy and other type of renewable energy because it will harm their corrupt traditions. But now they also have to come to terms. I'm just coming from Thailand. I come from Myanmar, stopped over there one day, and I see in the newspaper there that the coal power plant in South Thailand, which was approved half a year ago, has been cancelled because too expensive. We have one. So I'm not worried for the energy anymore. It will come by itself, and it go very fast. Every year now, solar energy is doubling in quantity every year. Every year is doubling. And you know, when they have reached half, it takes only 1 year to complete it. So it goes much faster than we could believe. So that is not anymore worry me. So what we now need to see is that we can also get rid of the plastic menace. Plastic is now choking up the oceans, very serious. In 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. If there is any fish at all, we don't know if they can survive that much. And we have seen in Norway dying whales with plastic bags in their stomach. It's terrible how we have spoiled the beautiful oceans, which have given life to our civilizations and to people. So what we have to do now is also to fight the plastic. And that you can do with bioeconomy. Because new technology have proven that forest is the new gold. Forest can produce biodegradable plastic, it can produce medicine, it can produce food, and it is sustainable. Forest will be regenerated. You cut the tree and plant a new, and it will always be there. And forest will also mitigate CO2, and some type of forest store it in the ground, so it is in permanent storage there. It's a fantastic cycle of future possibilities, bioeconomy. And we are hoping that we can get the government of Myanmar along with some groups from Norway to start the first bioeconomy project there, which will change the economy of this country totally in time to come. Well, I have been engaged with Myanmar since 1991, when Aung San Suu Kyi got the Nobel Peace Prize for her democracy and human rights work in Myanmar. And we helped her a lot, and we have been fighting the dictatorship all these years, and have been in and out illegally there, because I was on the blacklist. We have worked as much as we could, and we have no won. Now Aung San Suu Kyi is there. She is a little bit, helpless in many ways, because the military still have a stake in the running of the country. So we have to give her some time. But definitely things will change. So I went back there in 2012 and was received then by the military government, because I didn't come to change things, but I came to help them with the climate. So climate was then my entry there. And we started the research project on mangrove restoration with 2 universities. This research project lasted 3 years. After 3 years, we had all the knowledge we needed. We know now we can go ahead. So for the last 2.5 years, we have been planting. Now we are reaching 3 million trees. Next year, we will have 2 million. Then we will have 4 million, 8 million. And then we will aim at 1 billion trees. We can do that in Myanmar. And I was invited to have a speech at the ASEAN conference on bioeconomy and climate change. And looking at ASEAN, they have 43% of all the mangrove forests in the world. And there's a lot of potential there. Indonesia is one of the largest after Brazil. You have Philippines, you have Vietnam, Cambodia, and of course Malaysia and Myanmar. So we are now starting a small information office with the Institute of International Strategic Studies for the ASEAN group to mobilize more planting in ASEAN. If we can get a foothold there, things will move very fast. How is it valuable? There is something called carbon trading. You can offset your carbon footprint by buying carbon from another place. That means you store carbon, you reduce emission, and then you have a value. There are two ways. You have the CDM, which was done from the Kyoto Protocol, which is going out, and you have VCS, validated carbon system. So we have registered the first project now with the VCS. It's a very complicated process, a very technical process. We have to prove that this tree will mitigate that much. It has to be scientifically tested, and it's not easy with nature because it depends on the climate and the soil and so many things. But we have now come to the stage where we will have an auditor coming in a month's time and certify that our calculation is correct. Then it goes to the VCS company, VCS group in America. And when we get the approval, this has a high price. It cost us $1 to plant a tree, which will mitigate 1 ton in 20 years. And the price for forestry now on the VCS market last year was $7.50 from forestry. And this may go up. So when you can plant and generate income and share that with the local communities, I think you are in a very good footing. There's no reason to be pessimistic anymore. There's no reason to be worried who will fund this in the future. You have found a kind of a solution which is looking after itself. And finally, you have a sustainable financing system. And we can thank the forward-looking people who have been made this, not the politicians, but other people have been working for this. And now we have reached the market through Lykke. We are in the cryptocurrency business. And Lykke, they increased their value 30% the 3 first months of this year. Still a little bit going up and down, like Bitcoin and so on. But all the things will put upwards. All the arrows put upwards. So in time to come, I think we have found a very, very good solution, long-term solution, which can help us to save the future for this planet. We have very good help with people to give security on this, because we have expert in this from the finance sector. His name is Alan Labsk. He is from Germany. He has worked with all the big things in Wall Street and so on, and given up his old life. Now he is just there to see that we should monetize nature. Nature should have the price. If we can have a price on nature, we will take care of nature. So if you buy a coin from us, that can be tradable. On Lykke will transfer it into dollar or euro and anything you want, and you will get it paid in dollar or euro if you want to spend it. And if you want to keep it, it will increase in value. So this is just coming out from the think tank, and it is really working, and people are really investing in it. So if more people can come, we can plant more trees. There's no shortage of willing hands in Myanmar. All over, people are unemployed. They're waiting for something to do. In one of the villages, when we started, most of the people are unemployed. And the only thing they could do was do a little bit fishing and cutting trees to make charcoal, and it's spoiling the future for everyone. Now we have given work to more than 200, and they increased the income. Before we started, they had the average income was $70 a month for a family with 5. It is below the poverty line. It was terrible to see, and we are helping them to get more. So we have said that the people in our area will double up their income in the next 5 years with all the projects we now start. That is the beginning. But when this VCS and other thing coming in with income, people are buying the carbon, they can be, in their terms, rich. Not awfully rich like us. We have too many cars and too many fridges and all kind of things. But maybe they can buy a bicycle. Maybe they can have enough to send the children for education. Maybe they can have enough to go to the nearest hospital or health center and get some help when they are sick. That is their aim of getting rich, not spoil all the other thing. So I think that will help. That will work. and I'm very optimistic. Lykke want to be a kind of a train for all kind of currencies. They've issued a solar coin to promote solar energy. I was at the conference with them 2 weeks ago where they launched a tiger coin because they're helping an organization saving tigers. So you can buy a tiger coin and they will demonstrate what they do and you help like that. And that coin has also a value. But no one can do better than us with tree coin because the value of the tree coin is phenomenal. The tree will be there all the time and you can own the tree. You can see it. We are now working with Planet. It is a new satellite company in Silicon Valley. They will be able to film every tree on this planet within the next few months. They have started with very small satellites, very cheap small satellites flying around and filming all the trees we need. So you can buy your tree from us and in a few months' time you can see the tree on real time on your Facebook page. So you are sure that you are not fooled. The tree is there. And you can visit it, and you can buy more trees, and you see what is happening. So we have to document what we do. We can't just think that people will believe what we say. We have to be using all kind of modern technology in finance and in communication and in planting and in natural science. So if we have enough knowledge and enough tools, nothing can stop us. There is a big change in the financial sector because we are all belong to this global village. All have the same future. If you are rich or poor, all will be hit by climate change. You can't avoid it. Even if you have $1 billion in the bank account, you will be equally hit like everyone else. So they are wakening up. They see they can't go on like that any longer. It is not a question of only the balance sheet and how much profit you can make. More and more responsible investors are coming in, and they're looking for useful things to invest in, not only short-term gain. It's enormous. I think it's trillions of dollars opportunity here. And it's see change in attitude of investors coming in. And that has helped us because those behind Lykke, they are traditional investors and they have seen that a new age is coming, a new opportunity is coming and taking that challenge. So I think that money will be available in the future for all kind of good things too. If you can manage the resources properly and not wasting it, and people will come on board.